Ellie Drew, shall we start over? All right, hi, I'm Ellie Drew. I'm saying this for the video folks who are listening that way. This is part 2 of how to clear your code, your ancient code, how to clear your code. Now, how many did not come to the first session? Okay, so there's a few in here who have not. So I'm not going to be reviewing what I did in the first session here, except for just a couple of brief things. We're going to do some practice things so that when we get into doing the clearing process for how to clear your code, and then we're going to go directly into the process. Now, I saw on the description that I have on here that everybody's going to get a sheet of paper for a code. I am moving to Prescott, Arizona. I packed my suitcases 2 weeks ago for not only this event, but for a 6-day retreat. And that I have 6 suitcases in my new house that are all packed up. And so I can tell you where to get the sheet of paper on my website for free, because you're not only going to want them for yourself, you're going to want them for your friends and your family and your small groups at home. And so you go to elliedrew.com, and I have a button that's a big button that says free on it. And you want the first 2 things. You want the one that says forgiveness and release, and you want the second one that says emotional unhooking process. You want both of those. I was going to give you the first one. Evidently, I didn't know I put that in my description until I read the book last night. Okay, so just to review now, there are 5 aspects that you need to have cleared, right? And each are coded. What is your bodysuit aspects? Tell me what they are. It's the physical aspect, the emotional aspect, and the intellectual aspect. So all 3 of those are coded. The physical aspect is coded not only from what you do with your body in this lifetime, because it can change according to some of the work that the scientists are doing. You can change some of your code, but a lot of your genetic code comes from your parents and your ancestral stuff. It's influenced with your environment. Your emotional code is the way that you get information that your body is trying to tell you. It talks to those 5 yin organs where you hold emotion. Again, I will briefly go through this. In the liver is where you hold anger. In the heart is where you hold stress and excitability. In the spleen is where you hold worry and anxiety. In the kidneys is where you hold fear. In the lungs is where you hold grief. So the emotions of your body help try to get you that information. What am I worried about? Someone's eating at me. What am I worried about? I forgot to pay that bill. Darn it. So, these are helpful for your survival. The third one is your intellectual aspect of your bio aspect, your bodysuit, and that aspect is to collect and gather information. So it's always busy wanting to collect and gather information. The prime directive of your bio-host is what? Your bio-suit? Survival. Always remember that all 3 of those aspects, their entire agenda is around survival. Your soul aspect. What is the prime directive of your soul aspect? To experience, to create. It doesn't care what you're experiencing, and it loves to create all kinds of things. So again, I will remind you, your soul, as far as it's concerned, you're into big drama. Do it big, suffer big. I really want to experience what that's like. Oh, love big, create big. I love that. So your soul wants you to do everything in big expressive terms because it doesn't like watching the same boring movie over and over and over again. It's like the happy puppy dog that's always happy to see you and to work with you and to go out and explore and help you get things done. Something that I will say briefly also is that when I first started doing psychic readings, intuitive readings for people, and I had not wanted to do them, it's just that I had this opening between me and the spirit world after Homer Hefty, the dowser, had died, and 12 days later had showed up in my circle. People had started asking me for sessions, and I didn't know what I was doing, so I kept saying, no, I don't know what I'm doing. And finally, this woman must have asked 9 or 10 times, and again, I was saying no, and I got yelled at from behind me, give that woman a reading. And I turned around and I looked, and there was nobody there. And so anyway, I did eventually start giving people readings. and sessions, and it was always interesting to me that the first question and primary question that people would ask is, what is my life purpose? And every single time, the spirits would yell. Now, I'm just the spirit messenger, you know. I'm sitting here, I'm talking to somebody who's asking me questions, and their guides come in, or, you know, people who are interested come in, spirits come in. You can't see them. But for me, it's all just like I'm having this little conference. Every single time when that question was asked, what is my life purpose, the spirits would yell at them. Every time. What do you mean? What is your life purpose? As if you should know. You're there. You're on the ground. You're doing things. What do you want to do? Whatever you want to do, I'll help you. The spirits are there to help you. They're not there to tell you what to do, to tell you how to do it. They're there to help you. And so it's for you to say, I'm on the ground here. I see a need. I see that there's a need for clean water. I want to be able to help with that. So you push that back at the soul aspect and you say, okay, soul aspect, I want some help with helping people have clean water, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter whether it's for your personal life or for a bigger thing. It's that relationship where you push back. So after about, I don't know, a few months of people continuously asking the same question and the spirits continuously yelling, I finally would tell people, you know, I'm not even going to ask them. I'm going to tell you what they're going to tell you. And then at one point, I got really frustrated with the spirits. And after my client left, I was actually staying at Ed and Carol Stillman's, doing sessions there at their house. And my last client left, and I just turn around, I close my eyes, and I go, okay, you guys, we got to have a talk. I'm really tired of yelling at people. They're really here for a sincere reason. They really want to know if they're on track in their life, and they're on track. So you guys go away until you can give me a better answer, because I don't like yelling at people. So it was kind of like I was hearing somebody walk away. And then I was feeling like there was this sense of a group of people talking somewhere over here. And, you know, then I forget about it because I keep living my life and doing laundry and everything else that needs to be done in life. And all of a sudden one day I'm in my kitchen and I feel this presence standing next to me for a long time. And it was like getting annoying. And I finally said, what? And I hear this voice that says, we have your answer for you. And I said, well, what was the question? It had been 2 months. And they said, well, you said we had to go away until we could give you a better answer for what people's life purpose was. We have your answer for you. And we want to let you know that everyone has the same life purpose. All right. Oh, now you've got my attention. And what might that possibly be? You know, you think of the dynamic of people in the world. How could everybody have the same life purpose? So I'm going to give you the words they gave me, but also when you're doing telepathic communication, it isn't just verbal. It's also a whole lot of other additional information that comes with it. The verbal words for your life purpose is to be your most authentic self. To be your most authentic self. What that means, and the feeling that came through me is almost like this volcano that was rushing up and through me. It's that which has to express through you. I have a friend, I call her the love chef. This woman, I got to love you, I got to cook for you. I have an engineering student son up here in Flagstaff, I got to just do calculations. I got to figure stuff out. You got a musician who has to create music. You have a composers. You have, what did Sandy Mack say last night? I love dowsing. Or Karen Ashley, I love dowsing. You know, that's her whole, thank you, I love dowsing. You know, it's like, I got to do dowsing. So there's this something that wants to emerge up through you. The other information that was with that was very clearly, it's not what your spouse wants you to do. It's not what your culture wants you to do. It's not what your religion wants you to do. It's not what anybody else wants you to do. It's not what your friends, you know, you don't go to your friends and go, what do you think I should do? As far as the spirits are concerned, that's a rule violation. Because you're asking somebody external instead of going in and saying, what do I want to do? And taking responsibility for your life. What do I want to do? Because if you remember my earlier talk, who are you? You are a soul having a physical experience. If you're a soul having a physical experience, then that soul aspect is God that is living inside of you, wanting to express through you. So if you don't honor that soul aspect that is that drop wanting to express through you, and you're so busy trying to do everybody else's life because it makes you a do-gooder, you're not doing your work. You are off track. You are missing the whole point of being here. That God aspect that's inside of you has its own song that it wants to sing. There's something that you came here with that maybe in your community needs to be offered. There's an African community when I went to mystery school. Sabanfu was somebody that I talked to. And they always knew that if a soul came into a village, that soul had always a gift for that village. There was something that village needed. And so wherever you are at, whether it's at work or at home or in your family, there's something that your soul has that family needs. And it might mean to shake things up politically or religiously. It might mean being more free and not stuck in the religious paradigms of the Western world. You don't know what it is. And it's okay to be the one that rattles the cage. And I'm betting a lot of you do that. Or you probably wouldn't be here. And so that aspect that wants to emerge up through you, listen to it. Never go to somebody else, what should I do? That is a violation. What do you want to do? We're here to help you. So how can you become and be your most authentic self when you have programming and coding that has come in with you? And part of that coding that has come in with you, I'm going to go back to those screens here, back up just a bit to, where did it go? That one. All right, you've got your physical body, you've got your soul body. And then you have this other thing, this memory field that comes in. And it is that observer aspect of your soul. Remember, your soul's got three aspects. It's got the part that is residing inside of you. It's got the part that can travel and line things up for you. And it's got that observer aspect that is always the neutral observer that I think is just collecting data, watching your experience, always there. And it is that memory field then that you come in with your soul from this lifetime and in other lifetimes, and it comes in with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay? So that's the part that we're trying to clear with the tools that we're going to work through today. All right? So for those of you who hadn't seen that, I wanted to make sure you saw that. And just for those of you who did, just as a reminder of it. So in 2010, when I started getting the information to put my forgiveness work together, my release and releasing old vows and promises that no longer serve you, and realign statements, I put it together, and I was told to have people experiment with it. I was told to document their experiences, and immediately things started happening in people's lives. One of the people was Audrey Julin, who was part of your conference. She's not here this year, but she's a big part of your conference. And she was the first person who said, I'll experiment with it. And as I was writing down her experience, I couldn't keep writing the forgiveness, releasing, manifesting process. It's too long. I didn't know what to call it. So at night when I went to bed, I was in that nice little relaxed state, and I said, okay, you guys, what do you want to call this? People are having experiences, but I can't keep calling it this. And the first word that I heard was flower. And the second word I heard was lotus. And then I fell asleep, and when I woke up in the morning, it was so clear. The name of it was Way of the Lotus Flower. And for those of you who have gotten the books, in the card graphics that I have here, I actually have a lotus flower because it has the lotus flower up above, this stem that goes down into this muck. And I was so proud of my graphic because it looks like it's even dirty water and hazy water up to clear water. And the roots are right in there. And so if you're going to be doing this work, that means that you have to be really grounded and centered. Where, again, is your power station? Lower dantian. And you got to snap it. Just like a snap clip, snap it in. Boom. Bring your attention in. Otherwise, your energy field is up in the mental realms or in the emotional realms. So if you want to be in your power station, you need to be snapped in, clicked in, right in your center, and that's where that calm, peaceful place is. Okay, now, the next thing, we're going to be doing some breath work. I want to go through the emotional unhooking process breath with you. I'm not going to talk much more about that here because I don't have time. But again, you can get it for free off of my website. It's one sheet of paper, and it'll describe more information there to you. The key that you need to know in order to do this work is that if you only want to work at the intellectual level to understand things, you can do that. But you do a lot of talking about your same patterns all the time. When you're ready to change the patterns, you have to have a way to reset your system, and the breath is the way to reset your system. So I'm going to go through the example that I always use when I'm first teaching this, and it's the feeling that we oftentimes have that says, I'm not good enough. So you get into a new situation or you're going to do something new, and the mind always is going, am I going to be good enough for this? Is somebody else going to be better than this? And you're always instantly self-judging, unless you've already cleared this one out. So we're going to practice on this, and this is what the breath looks like. For the emotional unhooking process, first you have to identify what it is you're feeling. I've identified one. You're not good enough. You have to acknowledge, so I have an acknowledgement statement that I'm going to say. The third part is resetting the system, and you reset the system with the breath. And the breath is this. I'm going to say a statement. I'm going to have you say, now. I was just in China, and they were saying, Shenzai. Shenzai is now in Chinese. So I'm hearing it in my head as I'm teaching it this time. So you say now is like a commitment to say, yes, I do want to acknowledge this statement. I do want to keep the wisdom I have gained, but release all pain patterns, perceptions, memories, and stress out of my system now. And I'll have you say the now, and when you say the now, this is what I want you to do, and I want you to be very physical with this breath. You're going to breathe in through the nose as deep as you can. Do it. Breathe in through the nose. And you're going to hold for the count of 8. Hold. And when you release the breath, you must do this. Ha! All the way out. Ha! Clearing breath in. Let it go. Ha! I have to hear the ha. And then you'll do it again. What I found is that I'm not going to go into this story long, but I saw the hook in solar plexus. That's why I always know it's emotional. You always feel yicky in your solar plexus, sick to your stomach. I saw this hook, that it was like rebar, thick like rebar, 15-inch hook, bent like rebar in the solar plexus. What I found is that when you acknowledge and you do the in-breath, it takes this hook and it lifts it out. And when you hold your breath at the top, it's like all these tiny little fly fishing hooks unhook wherever that stress is held in cellular memory, like being lifted up like with little tiny helium balloons as you hold. So the system is getting new information. Remember, when you're taking that breath in, the heart is pumping, and all that new information is starting to circulate through your system so that it can release all those little hooks. And then it continues with your other breaths. What I found is that if people didn't do the out breath properly, that hook would literally just go right back in, and those breaths would sound like this. They'd breathe it in, they'd go, ah, And that would always tell me, oh, you're really mad at her, aren't you? You aren't quite wanting to let that one go, are you? Should we just acknowledge how mad you are about that person first? Maybe that will help you to let go. So anyway, I found that the hooks would go right back in again. But I found that if I could trick the body, see, I'm talking to your intellectual mind, because the intellectual mind always wants to be right, and it'll make the emotional body do it right. That's why I'm talking to you. What I found is that if I could trick the people into doing the breath, making you do a ha all the way out, kept the throat open, kept the breath clear going all the way out. So your body will tell you itself when it's holding on to stuff. It'll try to choke it off, okay? What I found is that if you do the breath properly and you do the ha out, ha, I would see the hook would literally disappear. it would disappear. I have a medical doctor who was working with this in Saskatoon who said that she used to work with people counseling, medical counseling, week after week after week after work on the same thing, thinking they're done with it. It would show up 6 weeks later again. She goes, now we're in. I don't have to hear their story. I just have to know how they feel about their story. We just acknowledge how they feel about their story. We're done with it in 15 minutes. It never shows up again, ever. Maybe different aspects of it will show up. Never shows up again. She goes, I am so happy. I am going to put myself out of business. Because they weren't having to come in and in and in again. And so it may seem like as we go through this process today, it may seem like you're doing really basic stuff. But what I get, and the feedback I get is, I feel lighter. I feel better. I don't know what I did. I just feel better. I feel more calm inside. I feel better. Even when I was in China, the same thing, the feedback I'm getting back. I just went home and I felt better. I just felt better. So you don't, it's not anything real magical. You're just resetting your system. So it's, our car's pretty basic. Our vehicle's pretty basic. If you know how to reset the I don't know, what's something on a car that needs to be reset? The timer or something. I don't know. Yeah, something. It's like that easy. The trip miles. It's just that easy. You just have to know what it is that you're doing. Okay? All right, so let's practice on I'm not good enough. Are you ready? Go into your centered place. Sink it down. Body, mind, and emotion. We need to have a talk. Your job is to help me survive better, and you are not helping me to survive better by holding on the stress of me feeling like I'm not good enough. So body, mind, and emotion, I acknowledge you for having this feeling that I don't feel like I'm always good enough in all situations, and I command and demand that you keep all the wisdom I have gained from this lifetime and in all lifetimes, and I command and demand you release all pain patterns, perceptions, memories, and stress out of my system. Say now. Now! Deep breath in. Deep breath in through the nose. Remember, you're going to hold it and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let it go with a ha. Ha. Bend over even. Ha. Deep breath in through the nose. You're still resetting your system. Let it go. Ha. Deep breath in. Let it go. Deep breath in. Now gentle sigh. Move your body, move your spine. And how do you feel? So in the Way of the Lotus Flower book that I have sold out of, and I will take shipping orders and just send them to you when I get them out of back order. I'll just ship them to you, just pay for them at the conference, and when I get them, I'll ship them to you. I have statements for releasing things that are pretty typical. Like I have a divorce lawyer who's asking me to put statements together for divorce. I hate him. I love him. I'm disappointed. I feel like a failure. You always can tell it's emotional because it's never logical. I love him. I hate him. It'll be both sides of the story. All right. Now, we're going to go into, I'm going to sit down here now, so you're not going to see me, but that's okay, because I want you to just be within yourself, and I have, I put that in there, life purpose, to be your most offensive. I didn't even know I put that in there. I thought I took that one out. But clearly, Spirit wanted you to be having that information. I forgot I put this in here too. Oh, all right, I got to stand up again then. All right, so here's your soul. I just want to quickly go through this. Here's your body. Come here. There's your body. Remember, that's the color code for the body all the time. There's your flaming mind. I'm always right. And guess what this is? Do-do-do-do-do-do. Yep, that's your emotions. When your soul aspect is in your body, the survival here is so difficult that it gets really noisy and it covers up your soul aspect, your consciousness, your kind of little angel on your shoulder that tries to make you do things in a better way. And so you need to find a way to get that communicator going, and this is why you do meditation practices. I have it on here. It's your communications director or your telephone operator. Remember the old telephone operators? I had to plug you in. Well, remember I said the quiet place is in that central channel? You need to connect up into that central channel. That's your core place where your soul is able to go. And so when you do that, watch the screen now. When you do meditation practices, Qigong practices, simple, one breath, breathing in and learning how to stay in that centered, snapped in kind of place here, watch what happens. Your energy systems start coming online, watch from the center, and it starts dissolving all the noise of the mind. So now you can be more objective. You can hear what the body aspect has to say, the emotional, mental aspects have to say, but also the soul aspect of what it has to say. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that in here. So in the Way of the Lotus Flower book, I have a prayer. Whenever you're going into that sincere place, you want to come into a prayerful place because it puts you in a more humble place. I have a friend who's Lakota, and she says, we are not doing proper prayers until we have the tears streaming down our face. Then we know we are humble enough. The tears streaming down our face. And so we don't necessarily need to do that, but you do need to be in that sincere heart place. And the first thing you want to do is call in your guidance. So read along with me. I call in my guides from the highest and deepest inner dimensions. I call on my spirit friends from the unseen realms to guide and protect my spirit body on this healing journey. I call on all the spirits of nature from the earth realm to guide and protect my physical body on this healing journey. I call on the protector spirits, guardians from the warrior realms, to guide and protect me as we enter the shadow realms of the mind, to find and restore the lost and damaged parts of myself so I can be whole again. I call in my most advanced and awakened selves from any lifetime or dimension now into this present moment to help me awaken to my whole self in all lifetimes. I call on the memory of my tribal and medicine powers for the wisdom and knowledge stored somewhere in my being that instinctively knows how to bridge the physical and spiritual realms. I call on my higher self. I call on the creator forces to help and guide me to my highest potential. I surrender all obstacles that keep me from being my most authentic self. In sacred partnership with my higher self, I am ready to do whatever it takes to be whole. Now, I know it's pretty small for some of you to see this, so I'm reading it, and just even being in your heart space with just having me read it is just fine. Keep going on the prayer of surrender. I, the bodysuit aspect, surrender to my higher self, that divine and eternal aspect that expresses through me. Let my hands be your hands. Let my voice be your voice. Let my heart be your heart. I surrender to the sacred partnership now. All right, so I am going to go into, in the book, I have a long version, a short version, and a mini version. And so I'm going to go into the mini version so you can just experience just the basic parts of this process. I encourage you to do the process for 21 days because that's kind of a big reset for the system. The manifesting statements, I encourage you to keep doing those. But the forgiveness statements and the releasing vows statements, I encourage you for 21 days. And what people have told me about it is that they feel like their house is really dirty. And that as they're doing it, they're doing a deep cleaning and dusting of their house. But as they continue to do it, it feels like, no, I'm feeling pretty good. I just need a little light dusting today. And then pretty soon it's like, yeah, I just do it to kind of maintain my inner peace and serenity. Or you never have to go look for your problem children in life, your lessons in life. Don't ever have to say, what's my next lesson? Because the universe will bring it to you in the form of another annoying person or situation. And so when you are in those situations that you're finding that you are projecting onto, or that Spirit is showing you where you have another hook that is thrown out in a rope and someone's tripping over it and you're projecting onto that person, you're making me feel that way. No, you have a rope. You have to do some emotional unhooking on that. They're just a gift to you to annoy you, to let you know you have that rope hanging from your solar plexus. So you just use it when you need it then, to be able to do forgiveness work. Or if something comes up, you use the forgiveness work when something in your life comes up. But when you're ready for a nice, good clearing, boy, 21 days of this is really good. So just move your hands to your high heart area. We're going to do the first forgiveness, which is forgiving yourself. It's always the hardest. With a sincere heart, I forgive myself for anything I may have said, done, or avoided doing that caused real or perceived harm to myself or others, in this lifetime and in all lifetimes, in this dimension and in all dimensions. From the deepest part of my being, I say 3 times, I forgive myself, and on the 3rd time, say now, and we're going to do the breath work. Begin. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself now. Deep breath in, deep breath in. This is the reset, so your body believes you. And hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let it go. I got to hear your ha. Ha. Be real physical with it. Bend over with it. Be physical with it. Breathe it in. Let it go. Ha. Deep breath in. Now that cleared your soul field. We don't want to reinfect your soul field with what you're carrying around in your body field right now. So immediately we're clearing your body field. Body, mind, and emotions, I command and demand to keep the wisdom I have gained from this lifetime and in all lifetimes around forgiving myself, and I command and demand to release all pain patterns, perceptions, memories, and stress out of my system now. Deep breath in. And hold. 2, 3, 4. If you're not doing the breath, you're not doing the work. Why bother be here? So make sure you're doing it. 6, 7, 8. Let it go. Ah. Good. Deep breath in. Let it go. Ah. Deep breath in. Let it go. Ah. Move your spine now. A lot of things get stuck in the spine. You want that energy moving. Yeah. If there's ever any tension or you need to knock on your body where there's stuff that might be feeling like, oh, it's locked up here, make sure you move. Or if you need to stand off to the side or in the back, do that. Okay, we're going to continue to move on. The second forgiveness, ask others to forgive you. So if there's anything in your mind or in your heart right now, they're like, oh, I really do want to be forgiven for something. Oh, yeah. And you know what? You don't even have to know what there is where you need to be forgiven. Okay? You don't have to know. The system knows. Your system knows. With a sincere heart, I ask others to forgive me for anything I may have said, done, or avoided doing that caused real or perceived harm to them or their loved ones in this lifetime and in all lifetimes, in this dimension and in all dimensions. From the deepest part of my being, say 3 times with me, I ask others to forgive me. 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 Say it now. Now. Deep breath in. In through the nose. And hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ha. Ha. Deep breath in. Let it go. Ha. Deep breath in. Let it go. body, mind, and emotions. I command and demand to keep the wisdom I have gained and release all pain patterns, perceptions, memories, and stress associated with needing others to forgive me. Say it now. Deep breath in. Reset the system. And hold. 2, 3, 4. This time we're clearing the body field. We don't want to reinfect that soul field. 7, 8. Let it go. Deep breath in. Let it go. Deep breath in. Move your bodies. Move your spines. Let it go. You know, if you just need to feel like something needs to get out. Okay, so you've forgiven me. Let's unhook those hooks. If you remember the Murray story, you know, unhooking those hooks. Remember, there's a hook on both sides. When you've hooked into somebody else and you take your hook out, it lets them be free also. It lets them be free. It's both-sided. So even, you know, what did Jesus do? He taught us the best thing, very last thing, getting crucified on the cross, having a really sucky experience here. And he says, well, I got to give him one more lesson. What does he say? I forgive you, for you know not what you do. And what he was really saying is, you know, I really know that there's these golden hooks that get connected between you and me, and I know at some point you're going to feel really bad that you put me up here and you pierced me and you penalized me because of political reasons, and you know, you're really creating this sucky experience, and I get that. But I don't want to leave not being clear. I'm unhooking my hooks. I forgive you. You know not what you do. I'm not going to have any attachments to you guys. And he gives other people then, when they're ready to forgive themselves for what they did to him, the chance to also burn that line, that energy. See? And so he gave us that beautiful lesson to forgive. That's why it's so important, so that you can feel clean and you can feel clear. So we move to the third one. The third one is sometimes for people the hardest one. Forgive others. I have worked with people who have had children killed, murdered, car accidents, motorcycle accidents, so many things that bring so much pain. And you need to have a way to release it. You could have figured it out all intellectually, and you can still have a really hard time living with it. And you know what? You still need to do the reset. If your body doesn't do the breath work with this and acknowledge it with the breath work, it's still sitting in the system until you do the reset. So just take a moment, think about who you need to forgive. And let me tell you, your mind immediately goes, righteous, but I was righteous, I was right. You know, you have to say, yes, mind, I understand. Now can you be quiet, because we're going to get some other work done here now. So just know that that aspect of yourself will speak up about your righteousness and how right it was. And you still do the work. You still do the work. I forgive you anyway, just because I don't want to be tied to you any longer. Right? All right. And again, you do not even have to know who you're giving forgiveness for, because this is not only in this lifetime, it's in all lifetimes and dimensions. With a sincere heart, I forgive others in this lifetime and in all lifetimes, in this dimension and in all dimensions, for anyone who knowingly or unconsciously caused unnecessary harm to me and those I care most about, to others in my community or country, to the people and the animals of this world, and to our precious Mother Earth. From the deepest part of my being, say 3 times, I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you now. Deep breath in, reset the system so your system goes, oh, I believe you. And hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Surrender it. Deep breath in. And surrender it. Deep breath in. Surrender it. Deep breath in. Gentle sigh. Move your spine. So stand up, pat yourself down, move around a little bit. Feel like you can just, And the more you continue to just do this breath work and breathe, the more your system will continue to clear out. Because it's this lifetime and other lifetimes. It does continue to clear out. All right. So just, if you have tight spots particularly, that's where chi is kind of congested, just pat yourselves down and let that energy move. Now, I'm wishing that I had a screen, that I'm on a stage where the screen is taller so that everybody can stand up and see. There's some of you in the back who might want to stand up. Some of you on the sides might want to stand up. It's really powerful when you can really grit your feet in here and lift up your perineum and squeeze your buns to say this next one. Releasing vows and promises that you've made that no longer serve you. So for those of you who have a lot of passion, find yourself a spot anywhere up here. I don't care where. Those front row and front 3 rows, sorry, you guys cannot stand up. Nobody will be able to see anything. But I want you to sit on the front of your seats to do this. So as you're doing that, I've got a funny story to tell you. So I was in China teaching this, and it was translated into Chinese, and I said, well, the first time it might have to be, we might have to go through it a couple of times so you get it. They were so convinced about vows and promises that they have made or others have made on their behalf and all of that, they stood and they yelled this thing in Chinese so powerfully and did the breath so powerfully that we just sat and vibrated for 10 minutes afterwards. They were so ready to get rid of just baggage, vows and promises that no longer serve you. So again, if there's people that want to stand up here along the sides or wherever you want to do this, I'm going to say it's standing up. The most important thing is to say it with power, to say it with meaning. If you don't say it like you mean it, forget it. It's not going to do you any good. I don't have time in this hour and a half that I have with you, or hour and 15 minutes that I have with you, to tell you all the stories that I see psychically with repeating patterns and where they come from in other lifetimes, just like the video I showed you with Murray. That is one of 100 stories and videos that I could show you. The important thing is just clearing things out. Am I in your way here? Nope. Standing here? All right. So, grit your teeth. Grit your toes, squeeze your buns. Feel like you're a warrior, and you are doing business, boy, doing business. And here it comes. And go. I release myself fully and completely from all vows in any lifetime or dimension that I have made under any circumstance that no longer serves me and keeps me unconscious to my true self. I release myself from any and all vows I have made to myself and from any and all vows I have made to anyone else, from any and all vows I have made to any God, deity, or creator force that no longer serves me, and from any and all vows that keep me unconscious to my whole self. I release myself fully and completely from all vows in any lifetime or dimension that I have made under any circumstance that no longer serves me and keeps me unconscious to my most authentic self. I command freedom and liberation. Stop. Limited thinking self now. I call all aspects of myself back now. I demand wholeness now. And now, in this moment, I vow to live and be my most authentic self, grounded in the present moment. Say it. I command it. I demand it. I claim freedom now. Deep breath in. And hold it. This is where your system gets reprogrammed. Lets all that stuff go. This lifetime, all lifetimes. You don't even have to know what they are. Let it go with a ha. Ha. Deep breath in. Hold for a little bit. Let it go. Ha. Deep breath in. Let it go. Ha. Deep breath in. Now get up, move around. If you have any tight spots in your body, move it out, move it around. That breath is critical, absolutely critical for you to be able to have your system reset. Otherwise, you can be yakking and talking all these years, and your system doesn't know. It's like I still feel crappy inside, but I don't know why. It's because you only got it using the intellectual aspect, not got it into the body through that emotional aspect, through that sincere heart peace, and working with that soul level to clear out not only the bodysuit aspect, but the physical aspect. Let's now clear out the bodysuit aspect, because we just cleared out the soul aspect, the soul field. Body, mind, and emotion, we need to have a talk. Your job is to help me survive better, and holding on to vows and promises that no longer serve me do not help me survive better. Body, mind, and emotion, I command and demand to release all vows and promises I have made under any circumstance in this lifetime or any lifetime that no longer serve me. I command and demand to keep the wisdom I have gained from those experiences. And I command and demand to release all pain patterns, perceptions, memories, and stress out of my system, way down to cellular memory. Say it now. Deep breath in. And hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Release it. Ha. Deep breath in. Let it go. Deep breath in. Let it go. Deep breath in. Gentle sigh. Move your spine, move your shoulders. And go ahead and, when that feels complete, go ahead and sit down. Now, are there any questions about the forgiveness aspects and the releasing vows and promises that no longer serve you? Any quick questions on that? And how do you feel? Feel good? Yeah, lighter? Do you feel more at peace? Mm-hmm. That's what this process is. The whole key, honest to God, is the breath work. One of the people who was reviewing the books, he goes, you know, could you just take out the breath work part? I'm like, you missed the whole point. You're just working at the intellectual level. And that person happened to be a very intellectual person, wanting to not really do the work. You have to engage the breath so the system can get reset. The key is the breath. Why? Because when you're afraid or something happens in your life, what do? Stress makes you go, and then you stop breathing. You don't know that in that and stop breathing, you are reprogramming your system to believe whatever you just went to. Do not go to horror movies. Oh my God. Like, do some really good clearing if you go to horror movies. That's like bad, bad, bad. All right, so when you you're releasing these vows and promises, clearing out your system. Again, it's a 21-day practice. Actually, I didn't know it was a 21-day practice. It's not even said in the book in this for a 21-day practice. It's just that everybody kept saying, how long do I have to do it? And I said, I don't know. I got to go talk to the big guys. And so I go into meditation. I go, so they want to know how long to do it. And I get 21 days. So I go, 21 days. And then I found out that there's something about 21 days about creating new behavior patterns. A new behavior, 21 days. So there you go. Yeah. The spirits also told me never make vows and promises. Simply do not make them. If you are going to make any vow and promise, the only one they said is to be your most authentic self. That's it. That's the only vow you make. So the funny story that I was going to tell you is when I was in China and teaching these Buddhists, I was saying one of the most evil things on the planet is the Bodhisattva vow. And one woman nearly passed out. She was standing on the back of the couch, and she literally dropped to her knees, and she's sheet white, and I'm having to fan her. And then I show her the video on Homer and the hooks that you get put in. It's like, why would you want to have yourself come back to this planet until all sentient beings are enlightened? One, what is enlightenment? And two, you're creating all these compulsions for you to be forced to come back here. Why don't you just come back here because you want to come back here? So, and then they really got it. So I tell you, when they said these vows and promises of releasing, they were like, we're taking this serious, man. We are not going to be stuck with these vows and promises being compulsed to come back here. Because I'm going into the manifesting statements next, and here's the reason why. If you are doing something like the Bodhisattva vow, which you're making a vow to come back until all sentient beings are enlightened, whatever that means, right? And I'm going to write an article at some point on the illusion of enlightenment. And when you're on your deathbed, you have a belief that because I'm here on the planet at all means I'm not enlightened, that I'm a failure.
Just came back to learn more.
Yeah, I'm always here to learn more. But yeah, that's healthier. I just come because if you come back for as the soul, what is the soul's prime directive? Not to learn. It's the soul's prime directive is not to learn. You're not here to learn. I can tell you, you're not here to learn. To experience and create. As a result of experiencing and creating, you are starting to learn some things because you're realizing, wow, if I do certain things, there's really bad consequences. That's why you want to be able to put in your releasing statements, I command and demand to keep the wisdom I have gained, but release all the guilt and all the negative consequences there were as the result of me having that experience. And that way you get to keep the wisdom and thus learn, but it's a secondary, it's not a primary. The primary is to experience and create. Okay. Now, once your system starts clearing out with all this stuff, what do you want to do next? You want to start reprogramming, realigning your system. What I find, and especially, I mean, I hope nobody's going to raise your hand when I ask this question. How many watch the news? Thank you. So for nobody watching, yeah, I don't want a lot of hands raising your hand because light and sound, Homer talked about this in the book. Light and sound is some of the strongest programming you can get. And they know this in the media industry. You're getting programmed with buy this or ways of dressing or fashion or advertising or political statements or religious statements. You're getting programmed with that sound and light going into the system. You want to be very careful about what sound and light you let coming in. That's why even movies, you want to be very careful what kind of sound and light you let come into your system because it starts programming you. And the news is really negative. And you don't want to be listening to all this negative stuff because it gives you a worldview that's negative, that feels negative, and it makes you feel really yicky inside. And so you want to be able to move into, how much time do I have, by the way? Till noon. I have till noon? Okay. 20 minutes, good. Okay. So you want to be able to move into the higher vibrations. And I don't have that slide on here. It's in my longer presentation. But when Homer died, he hung around till he showed up to me about 12 days after he physically died. About 40 days after he physically died, these two big bright beings showed up, one on each side of him. And so we're taking Homer with us now, but he'll be back. And I'm going, no, this is great. Thank you so much. Bye, Homer. And we'll see you. Because this had really torn up my whole life, this whole experience at the time. And so anyway, it was dead quiet for about 7 days. And about the 8th day, my teeth were chattering again. I called it the Homer buzz because my teeth would physically, people would look at me and when Homer was around, my teeth were physically chattering. So anyway, when he came back, he was now one of these big bright beings. And I hadn't seen that. Mostly when I see people cross over, they look like the outline of their body in this physical dimensional reality. And also, Homer looked like that. When he came back now, he was one of these big golden beings, just radiant. And he was different, he looked different, and he said he'd been dancing with the one. He had integrated with his whole self. So on the statements that I have in here, unconscious, they keep me unconscious to my whole self. The reason I use the words whole self is because you want to be able to integrate with all aspects of yourself. Homer and the spirits have never talked to me in terms of past lives. They have only talked to me in terms of other lifetimes. If you go back to the prayer, here, there's this part. I call in my most advanced and awakened selves from any lifetime or dimension now into this present moment to help awaken me to my whole self in all lifetimes. Homer gave me that a long time ago in the original Inner Journey prayer. He gave me that. And I said, so Homer, how can you talk to me? And he showed me this, like, let's say this chandelier here is all golden threads coming down like a big rope that it's untangled. And he shows me one of them. He says, you see this one right here that has Homer on it? That's the one that's connected into your dimensional reality that can talk to you. But other things that they would say are things like, when you help yourself in this lifetime, you're helping yourself in all lifetimes. You're evolving in all lifetimes. So there is information that talks about us living simultaneous lifetimes. I have never been told we have past lives. I've only been told that we can go on timelines, experience different timelines. We happen to be in this timeline right now. And that you can assist all of your aspects. It's also why in this prayer that I have in here, I call on the memory of my tribal and medicine powers. Because you have that somewhere in your systems. Your shamanic wisdom is somewhere in there that knows how to bridge the physical and spiritual realms. The Western society is the most ignorant of it than anywhere in the entire world because we're just so intellectual. So we have advanced in other ways, but we haven't advanced spiritually because of that. And so it's a very natural connection to talk with your spirit ancestors and to talk with your spirit guides and whatever you call them. And so, anyway, what was I going to say about that? What was I saying?
Homer dancing with himself.
Yes, Homer dancing with the one. So when he came back and he was this big, bright being, he said, you don't have to die to dance with the one. But you must move out of the emotions of the body. Liver, anger, grief in the lungs, fear in the kidneys, worry and anxiety. You must move out of the bodysuit emotions, which the news invokes lots of it, right? You must move out of those vibrations, and you must move into the higher vibrations. They wouldn't even call them emotions. The bodysuit wants to claim them as emotions, but they're not. And the 5 higher vibrations, they're called, later in the architecture of reality, they were called the 5 songs of creation. Love, joy, wonder, inspiration, gratitude. Love, joy, wonder, inspiration, gratitude. Love, joy, wonder, inspiration, gratitude. These are the songs of creation. Sing it. Love, joy, wonder, inspiration, gratitude. Love, joy, wonder, inspiration, gratitude. Love, joy, wonder, inspiration, gratitude. These are the songs of creation. I'm trying to get to your right brain here to help you remember these higher vibrations. When you spend time with love, joy, wonder, inspiration, and gratitude, you are in the highest vibrations they are. And Homer says it's easy to go dance with the one when you are engaged in these higher vibrations, the 5 songs of creation. And so, these manifesting statements, when I started teaching conscious manifesting, which is a whole story in and of itself, after so many years of teaching it and spending so much time constantly correcting people's thinking, I finally said about 8 years ago, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to ask you anymore what you want, I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to ask you anymore what you want, I'm going to tell you. Because I found that people's thinking was too small. So how many of you ask for a parking angel or good parking spots. Okay, so a lot of you. So just to give you an example of this, when I manifest a way bigger swath. There's a little ripple on that swath that says I want good parking places. But the big swath says I'm always lucky. So what I did with these statements, I researched them for years. Be very careful when you make these statements. I literally call them my vetted list. I have researched them. I have felt the vibrational tones in these. And for the most part, you want things for health, wealth, and relationships. When I would do manifesting with people, it would always be that people want health, wealth, and relationship stuff, and then something in general that's kind of temporary in your life, right? And so I came up with these statements, and I now use them as command and demand statements. When I was writing the book, I've always done manifesting. I want blah, 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 push it out, and then it comes to me. It just shows up. Well, all the people in my team were having a problem with the word want. Because there was this spiritual teacher who wrote Conversations with God, and something in it said that if you say you want something, then you're going to be saying that you're going to want to be in wanting about that. And I'm going, that's not how manifesting works. That's not a truth at all. That is not true. You're not saying when you're manifesting, I want to be in wanting about my sex life. I want to be in wanting about my finances. I'm wanting to be in wanting about my relationships and my health. You're not saying that, right? When you say you want something, you're saying, I want something. It's a power statement. It makes you really, how do you say the opposite of unempowered? When you can't say, I want something. So really be okay to say you want something, because I can tell you I've been using I want whatever I want from the time I was really quite young in manifesting, and it's that intent about naming what your desire is. Because you could also exchange the word want with I desire. But what word has more power? Say them both. I want and I desire. I want. Now say the other one. I desire. It just doesn't have as much quite oomph to it, does it? Now when you do manifesting, here's the deal. The spirit world is kind of like you have a really strong wall. And they need to hear you on the other side. And if you're going, I want to just be really sweet with my manifesting and sort of kind of this or something better for something. You think they can hear you? It's when you're really pissy that they can hear you. When you're really mad, when you're really intense, when you're really, that's when they can go, oh, thanks, we got it, we'll get it down to you. So imagine that you're trying to, like, you've got this pipeline that you're trying to get information down to, and if you're really sweet about it, you're never going to manifest worth anything. So I highly encourage you to get my Conscious Manifesting DVD. It has the core part in it. But one of the manifesting pieces on it is emotion or passion or like resolve. You've really resolved that you want what you want. You know that? And I use it like a bow and arrow. If you don't have any energy to it, you're not pulling an 80-pound arrow. You're just kind of going, yeah, I want it. Well, you must not want it very bad. If you want it, you'd like be impassioned about it, and you'd really yell to get across to your peeps, okay? That's one thing. The second thing on the manifesting, let me finish with why I have command and demand statements. One of my experiencers and experimenters was this sweet woman who, she had a really quiet little voice and couldn't speak up for herself for anything. And she wore these really huge rose-colored glasses that no matter what people did, she would always try to see the good in them instead of just being present to the present moment, being your most authentic self and setting healthy boundaries and, being appropriate. And one day she was realizing that those rose-colored glasses were not serving her very well, and as she was doing this process, at the end of the last statements, how does it end? I command it, I demand it, I claim freedom now. Well, she was thinking about a situation in her life, and she just spontaneously said, I command and I demand that I see people clearly now. And that word got around to the group that this sweet little woman was like commanding and demanding her statements. And everybody went, hey, yeah, we're experimenting with commanding and demanding. All the statements changed now to command and demand statements. Now what you need to know is, no, you are not commanding and demanding God. Repeat after me. I am not commanding and demanding God. Okay, because that always comes up. What you're doing is you're commanding and demanding the body, mind, and emotion of your system that's lazy, that thing that I said that you can hear 50 words a minute, but your mind can hear 2,000 words a minute, and it's already having this other conversations. You're saying, hey, get over here and pay attention. I command and demand. So you're commanding your system to line up and be present, and you're demanding to get into these big vibrational waves. The statements that I have in here are the big swaths. And so if I command and demand a magical life, that has really cool consequences to it. That one came out of me working with my research group doing a vacation. I said, well, I'm going to manifest for having a magical vacation with my 2 teenage boys on a 3,000-mile road trip to Minnesota. I came back with so many stories. I could literally spend 2 hours telling you the magical things that happened on that vacation. And when I came back to report how well magical worked, because, you know, I like Disney World, and, you know, the Magic Kingdom. That's just cool stuff. All fun stuff happens, and you always have happy endings to your stories. And so when I came back, I said, that's going to be one of my primary statements. I want a magical life. I don't want just a magical vacation. I want a magical life. So that's a good one to manifest for. I command and demand I'm always lucky. If you want to do the vow to be your most authentic self, you know, we've already done that one. I command and demand magical relationships, magical opportunities, clarity of mind. That's always one. The first thing in manifesting that I find that people say, well, I don't know what I want. And I said, well, then you know what you want. You want clarity. I command and demand clarity of mind about this situation. Also, if you remember what your life purpose is that you're here on the ground. You have that God aspect spark inside of you. That God aspect spark is trying to express and experience through you. And so if you're not clear about what that is, command and demand to have clarity about it. What am I here for? I've been so busy pleasing everybody else. What am I here? What do I want to do? And really, that's all you have to ask yourself. What do I want? What do I want to do? And then do it. I command and demand. Oh, okay. When we do this one, I'm saying this is a warning label. If you have a lot of crisis going on in your life right now, leave this one alone, because I can tell you stuff happens when you do these statements. I command and demand to clearly see anything about myself that holds me back from being my most authentic self now. You might not want to do that if you have a lot going on, but if you're tired about having your buttons pushed, and if you find that you're doing a lot of projecting and somebody's tripping over your invisible hooks, they will become your blessing. And I don't have much time to tell you more about that, but this is a good one too. I command and demand that all obstacles be removed from, you know, whatever. I'm just giving you examples of what they are. I command and demand health in my body, health in my mind, health in my emotions now, good financial opportunities, harmonious relationships, healthy boundaries in my relationships. Here's Carolyn's. I command and demand to see people and situations clearly now. She took off her rose-colored glasses. And to only see truth, that was hers too, only see truth in my life. Anyway, we're going to go back, and we don't have time to do all of these because we only have 5 minutes, and we probably will go over, so don't wind me down, because I'm watching. All right, stand up. It's time to be powerful. Spread out, make yourself some room, but do not stand in front of the camera. And there's plenty of room up here too, and in the back. When you do these statements, this is how I want you to do them, because I want you to be physical with it, so you feel more physical with it. Let me see if I can get up here for you guys. I always need a table or something. There, hi you guys. Okay, so when you're doing this, you want to feel like you're really physical with this. And so, remember how the breath is such a good reset? kind of by accident, I spontaneously started teaching it like this, and wow, cool stuff is happening for people. So we're going to do, I command and demand a magical life now. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a deep breath in while you're, well, let's see, let me see. So what you're trying to do is breathe in and say, I command and demand a magical life, 2, 3, 4, now. And you're pushing out this, you know, you're trying to get on those big waves. Okay? So, we'll practice, yeah. You don't want to hit each other in the face, I get it. Okay, so, and you know how you can grip your hands? Remember when you were a little kid and you played that exercise where you get all the blood out of your hand and then open it up and then let it go and it turn all red? You know, you really want to be gripping yourself really tight like that, unless you have really bad arthritis and it hurts too much. But then squeeze your buns real good, and your back, your legs, and your quads, right? Your toes to the ground. Okay, so the first one. I command and demand a magical life, 2, 3, 4. We're going to let it go. This will be our practice one. So, go. I command and demand a magical life, 2, 3, 4, now! Now, let me see. This time we're going to do it a little different. Take your breath in first and then say, I command and demand a magical life. Hold, 2, 3, 4, and then now. Let's try that. Go. Breathe it in. Tight, tight, tight. I command and demand a magical life. 2, 3, 4, now. Oh, yeah, that's better. Gets you kind of dizzy, huh? Okay. You like the other way better? All right. You like to just say it first and then... All right, you guys figure out how you like doing it as long as you do it. Okay, you want always lucky because you want upgraded airline seats. You want, oh, there's so many stories. You want great parking. You want great relationships. You want great food. Okay, I command and demand that I'm always lucky, 2, 3, 4, and then we will say now on the end of that one. Okay, so breathe it in, tighten up, tight, 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 tight. I command and demand a not always lucky 2, 3, 4, now. Oh, yeah. I command and demand magical relationships, 2, 3, 4, and then now. So breathe it in. Tight, 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 tight. I command and demand magical relationships, 2, 3, 4, now. Clarity of mind. I command and demand clarity of mind now. Go. Breathe it in. Hold. I command and demand clarity of mind. 2, 3, 4, now. Remember, when we're holding, we're trying to give time for the system to reset with that new information. Okay? Yep. Oh, does anybody want to do? I command and demand to clearly see anything about myself that holds me back from being my most authentic self? Not some of you, not today. Is there anybody who's brave and really wants to say, oh, hell, why not? I'm already here. Let's get it over with. Okay, that's what you kind of do. That's what I did. You just get it over with. Okay, I will say this statement because it's kind of a long one. You guys just hold your system. You can say it if you want. And those who don't want to, just breathe and do I'm always lucky or something else. Okay? I'm always lucky I'm getting out of this, man. Okay. All right, so breathe it in. Hold. I command and demand to clearly see anything about myself that holds me back from being my most authentic self. 2, 3, 4, now! Whoa. You really want it, don't you? Wow. There was like a sonic wave coming over here. Whew. Do you want, we can take a few minutes. Do you want a couple more? Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. I command and demand health in my body, health in my mind, health in my emotions now. All right, ready? Go. Breathe it in. Hold it, squeeze, be tight, hold. I command and demand health in my body, health in my mind, health in my emotions. 2, 3, 4, now. Yeah, you're going to need a shower after this. Good financial opportunities. Go. Breathe it in. I command and demand good financial opportunities. 2, 3, 4, now. Okay, harmonious relationships in my life. Anybody else? Oh, confidence to speak up when necessary and appropriate. Ability to confront any person or situation, including myself, with courage and confidence. You guys tell me, which one do you want? Okay, we're going to go, and we're going to be sweaty, but, you know, we're going to do it because it's only 12 o'clock. He said we could have up to 15 more minutes if you wanted it. Yeah. All right, where are we at? We are harmonious relationships. Okay, go. Breathe it in. Hold it tight, tight, tight. I command and demand harmonious relationships in my life. 2, 3, 4, now. Breathe it in. Tight, tight, tight. I command and demand healthy boundaries in all my relationships. 2, 3, 4, now. Let that one go. All right, here's Carolyn. I command and demand only truth in my life now. Go. Breathe it in. And hold it. I command and demand only truth in my life. 2, 3, 4, now. Oh, some of you want that one again, don't you? Okay, let's do it. Breathe it in. Hold. I command and demand only truth in my life. 2, 3, 4, now. Now you know this kind of shakes the shit out of your relationships. You have to know you can't be asking for this stuff and then just think nothing's going to happen. Seriously. Seriously. This last 12 months, by the way, since last September till about this September, in my counseling, I finally started asking my people around the world who also do counseling work, are your people over the top? And I would get capital letters in bold, made big, over the top, exclamation points, all over the world. This last 12 months was as if we were all trees and we were just shaking the bejeebers out of it. And that anything that was not authentic, relationships that were long-term relationships were breaking up, relationships that looked like they were healthy, the cracks were being shown for people not being in their truth and not being true, and there have been more suicides, there have been more breakdowns of relationships, and people just saying, I'm not going to do this isn't authentic to who I am, and quitting jobs and leaving. Thankfully, the energies feel like they're starting to kind of settle in a little bit, but if you have had a really tough year, how many of you have had a really tough year this last year, and even starting the year before? Yeah. It's been the energies, and I don't know what it is. I've never seen energies like this before. It's been harder to do manifesting and all of that and to really stay in power and stay in the center. And it's because the system has been trying to get releasing of things. So this truth, command and demand only truth in my life, it's almost like we said that starting about 1 to 2 years ago. And the system has been saying, oh, you only want truth? Be careful what you ask for. Okay? Because there are consequences to really being powerful with this. Okay, I command and demand to see people and situations clearly now. Are you ready? Go. Tighten it up. I command and demand to see clearly all situations clearly. 2, 3, 4, now. Oh, remember, all of who I am in all lifetimes. You guys want to be integrated into your whole, just be that big bright being while you're here, like Homer was able to be able to do when he integrated. That means that you got to stop watching news and you got to really put into your system those really positive, nourishing, nurturing, seeing the positive and the good in the world, making changes where they need to happen. Okay, so it is I command and demand to remember all of who I am in all lifetimes now. Breathe it in. I command and demand to remember all of who I am in all lifetimes. 2, 3, 4, now. Okay. It's hot in here. It's work, you know, when you do this. Here's other ones. See myself without judgment. See the good in myself and others. Positive thinking from my mind. That's for those of you who have a lot of mental activity. I command and demand control of my thoughts and emotions for those people who are kind of ruled by their emotions. I create beauty wherever I am. I love this one. I command and demand win-win solutions in all situations and conversations. You know, there's so many really good ones. Demand timely financial guidance. You know, how many of you feel like, you know, I just missed that hit. I wasn't paying attention to my hit that I got about, an investment or buying something.
Are these all in your book?
These are all in the book. Yeah, and I'm out of the book. When you come, pay for it. I get your address. When I get more in, I will ship them out as soon as I can. I do have a free sheet on my website that has some of the statements on them, though, on that free sheet. Okay, we're going to do one more. Which one do you guys want? That was quick. You win. What is it? Where is it? Which one is it? That's a
Control of my thoughts and emotions.
Fourth one?
Oh, the fourth one. I commanded man control my thoughts and emotions. Okay, breathe it in. Tighten it up. I command and demand control of my thoughts and emotions. 2, 3, 4, now. Okay, so have a chance to sit down now. And I want to be able to just give you a few minutes to ask questions. Remember, I am doing a retreat next week, Lotus Flower Retreat, where we spend 5 days doing this kind of stuff. 5 days going into the 5 songs of creation. We go, it changes you. The number one evaluation that people put on the evaluations, the number one thing is life-changing. Even when I was teaching it in China, life-changing. Because it shows you that all you have to do is go into that centered place, and everything happens from that centered place. Everything happens from that centered place, and when you're doing the breath. And so people will find lots of ways to move into that centered breath, or that centered place, whether it's meditation practices, or dowsing, or very complicated meditation practices, or, they create whole big religious movements out of it. And really, all you have to do is go into center, go into home, come back home. The soul chamber right here. You lock into your power right down here in your power station, Lower Dantian. And then you still do laundry. You still deal with life. You still deal with everything you have to. But from this place, and using these statements to reset your system, yeah, I'm having better boundaries and letting you get by with something you should be doing for yourself. That isn't healthy boundaries. Okay, I need to have healthier boundaries. Going to Al-Anon meetings. Boy, people who go to Al-Anon meetings, they have to learn how to have healthy boundaries. They're dealing with an addict. They have to learn healthy boundaries. They're forced into it. Okay, anybody have any questions? Okay, I've got a question back there. She's coming with a mic. Say it real loud so everybody can hear.
Hi. Can you hear me?
No. Is it on?
Hello.
Yep, now you're on. Go ahead.
Thank you for a wonderful 2 sessions.
Hello?
Okay, you're on.
I don't know
Jeff.
what's wrong with it.
Okay.
Thank you
speak
for
up.
a wonderful 2 sessions. And so the question, you were saying to do things for 21 days. Is that everything we just did to
Yes.
do that, including the
Manifesting
the
statements.
manifesting
Mhm.
statements?
And I have the core manifesting statements. What I do with the rest of the statements are saying, if you have something to deal with finances or career or relationships, or I have other ones that you can add in that are appropriate for you. The core ones are always the same. Let me go back 2 of them. The core ones, I'm always lucky. And I love it. Vow to be your most authentic self. You don't even have to say vow if you don't want to do a vow, because the Spirit said don't make any vows. Except if you're going to, then that's your one. I will be, my most authentic self, centered, grounded, appropriate. I'm always lucky. I want a magical life. I want magical relationships, magical opportunities, clarity of mind. These are your core statements that you want to be able to do all the time. The other thing that I will say to you is that when you are angry or afraid, you tend to want to react and say something. You want these statements handy. If you can't, when you have all this emotion rising inside of you, you don't want to be cursing somebody. That's not a good, healthy thing, because that drains your energy field. What you want to be able to say is, I'm always lucky, instead of cursing somebody. You want one of those statements handy, because when that energy is arisen, you want to be able to use that energy to something that's going to benefit your life. Okay? I talk more about that when I'm teaching the conscious manifesting. But yeah, 21 days of this. But the manifesting statements, you want to be able to say these as part of your practice. One of the women who was the experimenters on this, she was saying that instead of going to work, already being cranky about the people she's going to be working with, her mind would go to these cool statements. So she's driving down in LA traffic. She's thinking, I'm always lucky. And the traffic would flow better. And, oh, I have magical relationships. And her system was reprogrammed to go to these positive thoughts instead of, I'm afraid of the stock market and the national debt at this moment. You know, it would go to the more positive things. Because my dad's philosophy on all that is go fishing. He said, you know, the politicians, the bankers, they're always going to be coming up with something, I can tell you. He's 86 or something. He's like, every few years, they come up with something to make the markets go up and down. Just go fishing. You know, just do your life and don't fuss about it. Because it's just going to be what it's going to be anyway, and you can't do anything about it anyway, so why get yourself in a fuss about it? Go fishing. So that's my ending philosophy's dad. Go fishing. Okay, any other questions? Yes?
My biggest issue is health.
Hold on.
Health? Your biggest issue is health? Mm-hmm.
My biggest issue is health.
Okay. And? Question?
Well, how do I focus on the health issue?
Oftentimes people who have health issues, this is going to be too long of an answer for here, so I'm going to try to abbreviate it as much as I can. I have a diagram with a circle up above, 2 on the side, and 2 under the feet. And one is financial under the feet, and one is health. If you don't take care of your health and if you don't take care of your finances, you're always out of balance and spending all your time and energy on health and on finances. And so you must educate yourself about health and finances and do everything that you can. Because of the genetic entity at some point having an end date, and its prime directive is survival, it wants to pay a lot of attention to its survival. I push a lot of energy to my soul aspect. For example, I knew that this was my work to do. I knew when I married my husband as a young woman, the spirits told me he would not live long. When it came time after the Homer experience and all of that, and we were divorced by this time, we were living across the street from each other in houses, and he called me and he had a brain aneurysm. And I immediately went into my peeps and I said, you guys want me to do this work? Then you make sure he doesn't die from this brain aneurysm. Because if he dies from this brain aneurysm, I can tell you I'm not going to be doing my work. I'm not going to be educating people about the stuff that you've been giving me. And I'm going to tell you, if he dies, I'm going to be spending all that rest of the time helping the kids get raised up through high school and through college. So you want me to do this work? You keep him healthy. He did not have surgery for a month in Tucson. I tell you, we moved from Minneapolis, where he would have had surgery like this, to the wild, wild west. Tucson is like backwoods, wild west. Took him a month to have surgery. By the time they did another MRI on his brain, he had an aneurysm on his aneurysm. So aneurysm is a bulge. He had a bulge on his bulge in his brain, and it didn't blow. That's how powerful you are. Push back to your soul. You want me to do something here? Then get to it. I need some help on this. You push back to your soul aspect. That is your lessons for today. Thank you again so much for coming. All right.